Hi everyone! Last time that we read the Parker Inheritance, Candace and Brandon had solved a major piece of the mystery and that they were about to head to a bank to hopefully unlock a safety deposit box that might have the fortune in it. And I also read to you a riddle that Siobhan read to James Parker. I will read that to you again so that you can hear it and make your final guesses before we find out what the answer is. I am larger than 3 and smaller than 4. To make me your food, I need little more than a simple vowel tacked on to my ending. What am I? And then I'm going to start back up where we left off. Parker repeated the riddle in his head. A hint? He finally asked. It was one of your favorite desserts. Sweet potato was your pie, he said. P-I plus the letter E. Very good. He leaned into her and whispered, but I'm still winning. They sat like this for a while, their arms pressed against each other. They're going to build a memorial for MLK over there, he said, after a few moments, pointing over his shoulder. Maybe I should make a donation. That sounds like a good use of your money. I'd rather use my money to fly in a specialist. I don't care about the cost. Reggie, I would let you if I thought it would do any good. But I do know something you can do with your fortune. Something more than donate to the MLK Memorial. Though that is important. Something other than ruining the Allen family. I stopped fighting the Allens, he said. I backed Penelope's new company without anyone knowing, and I helped her brother find a job when he moved to Seattle. I figured as much, she said. I also read an article about how you reorganized your company, naming people of color to new senior management positions, and how you started a foundation to fund scholarships for women and people of color. Ellie also told me about those anonymous checks she received for her grandkids. Parker took in a deep breath and let it out. The steam floated between them and up to the stars. I was trying to change, he said, to be better. Do better, for you and for me. Yes, I know. She patted his hand again and let it rest against him. I don't want you to think I'm a saint. I never said the Allens didn't deserve to be punished. I did want them to pay for what they did to us. But I've never blamed the city for what happened. There are good people there, friends, almost family, and they need your help, especially Vista Heights. Siobhan started coughing then. James Parker stood to help her, but she waved him away. You can save Vista Heights, she said after a few moments. Do it for your grandmother. Do it for yourself. Do it for me. He looked up at the sky. He didn't remember stargazing as a child. He was always too busy looking at the ground, trying to survive from one day to the next. Had the moon and stars just been as brilliant when he was a kid? Remember that book you liked so much? He asked. The Westing game? Of course, I reread it every year. She squinted at him. Why do you ask? What's going on in that head of yours? Parker didn't know yet exactly. All he had was a seed, newly planted by Siobhan's last riddle. Pi plus E, and her favorite book. The beginning of an idea that could honor Siobhan's family, force the city to face its dark past, and acknowledge what happened so long ago. If I help the city, if I do this, the people will have to work for it, puzzle over it, Parker said. I won't make it easy for them. I want them to remember what they did to you and your family. It sounds fair, I guess. But don't make it too hard. You want to be alive when they figure it out, don't you? It was supposed to be a joke, but neither of them laughed. They need to remember you as well, Siobhan added. You are a victim just like Daddy. You deserve to have your story told too. She shivered, so he took her hands and blew warm air on them. Her fingers were so fragile, but still so beautiful. I should get you back to the hospice. In a moment, she squeezed his hand. I'm glad you're here. I was stupid. I never should have left. I should have fought harder too. We both make mistakes, she said. She reached up and touched his cheek. I'm proud of you. So proud. She glanced at the paper bag at his feet. Did you bring the wine? More like sparkling cider. He pulled a thermos from the bag, then poured cider into 2 paper cups. He had considered bringing Coca-Cola, but he didn't care about the past right then. He wanted to be in the present, with her. What are we drinking to? She asked. To second chances? No, she said. To third. Chapter 46. Miss McMillan had decided to believe him. For now. There was still the matter of the damage to the artwork, but she agreed not to say anything to the principal until they saw things through, which meant a trip to the bank. Candace felt like everyone was staring at them as they entered the Spirit of Independence Bank lobby. Brandon started toward the row of tellers, but Miss McMillan directed him to a cluster of desks. A man wearing a black suit stood from the nearest desk. His smile seemed faker than the Monopoly money. "How can I help you all today?" he asked Miss McMillan. She pushed Candace forward. "Go on, tell him, hon." Candace cleared her throat. "I would like to access this box," she said, holding up the key. It was sharp, like it had been cut yesterday. "Sure thing, little lady." Somehow his smile remained even as his lips moved. "I'll just need some ID to make sure you're authorized to open it." Candace lowered her hand. "I have to have ID?" "Just standard practice." She shook her head. "My name won't be on the list," she said. The man's smile faltered. "Maybe your mother?" "I'm not her mother," Miss McMillan said. "And my name won't be on it either. None of our names will be." The man finally frowned. "Whom does this key belong to?" "That's a long story," Tori said. "Look, is there any way we can open the box? It's been here for a long time. Maybe there's a clause in the box rental paperwork that says we can access it. Or perhaps a statute of limitations," Brandon added. The man snapped his fingers. "Let me see that key." Candace started to hand it to him, but Miss McMillan stopped her. "Why don't you write down the box number?" Miss McMillan said to the man. "We'll just wait here." Candace read off the number. The man jotted down the digits, then disappeared behind a large wooden door. $10 says we're going to be arrested," Tori said. 15, Miss McMillan replied. "I'll say one thing. This is not how I expected my Friday to go." They turned when they heard footsteps. A woman wearing a beige pantsuit approached them, carrying a small file in her hand. "Would you all please follow me?" she asked, motioning to the office. "Yep," Tori mumbled. "We're going to jail." "No one's in trouble," the woman said. "We just need to clear some things up." She led them to the office, then shut the door behind them. It was a small room, but they all fit inside. "I'm Suzanne Sawyer, the branch manager. My associate told me that you wanted to access a safety deposit box." She opened the file. "Most of our boxes can't be opened by anyone not previously authorized for access. Actually, all of our boxes are like that, except for this one." She tapped a sheet of paper. "This box has specific instructions to contact a law firm in Denver if anyone ever arrives with the key." She held out her hand. "May I see it?" Candace looked at Miss McMillan. After she nodded, Candace handed it over. The woman checked the engraved number against her paperwork, then returned the key. "A representative from the law firm is on the phone now," she said. "If you're okay with it, she'd like to speak to you." Candace nodded, and the woman pressed a button on the phone. "Hello, Miss Holliday? I have you on speaker with the person who came in with the key." "Thank you," the woman on the other end of the line said. "My name is Tiffany Holliday, and I am one of the trustees of this account. I would suggest you be truthful in responding to all of my questions. Now, who found the key?" No one spoke for a moment. "Hello? Are you still there?" Brandon nudged Candace. "I did," she said. I found it with my friend Brandon." "And who is speaking?" "Candace Miller." There was a long pause. "How old are you, Candace?" 12. "I see. And where did you find this key?" "In a painting at Lambert High School, in the Perkins Memorial Room." "I'm going to ask you one more question, Miss Candace Miller. Just to be clear, how you answer will dictate what happens next." The woman took a breath. "Whom do you think this box belongs to?" Candace stared at the phone. The puzzle pieces twisted and turned in her head. "Miss Miller? Do you know? Or did you happen upon that key by accident?" "It's not an easy question to answer," Candace finally said. "The person has 2 different names." "That is correct," the woman cleared her throat. "Please continue." "Well, it could belong to either James Parker or Reginald Bradley." She thought for a second. "Maybe it could belong to Shawan Washington as well." "Thank you. That is enough," Miss Sawyer said. "Miss Sawyer, please take me off speakerphone." The branch manager picked up the receiver. As hard as she tried, Candace couldn't make out what the woman on the other end of the phone was saying. The manager finally hung up. Miss Holliday requests that you return tomorrow afternoon with the key. She will be here around 2 o'clock. I thought the bank was closed on Saturday afternoons, Miss McMillan said. Yes, it usually is, but tomorrow we'll make an exception. She wrinkled her nose and rose from the desk. Until then, everyone shuffled out of the room and back into the lobby. Now what? Brandon asked. We just wait? Well, you're not breaking into this place, that's for sure, Miss McMillan said as she patted Brandon's shoulder. You all have done very, very well, and I'm proud of you, but I think it's time we called your parents. And that is where I'm going to stop right before chapter 47, and I want to hear any predictions that you have about what's going to happen next.